Good morning. I am wanting to share a few things that the Lord has been really talking to me about that's exciting and encouraging the last few weeks. And I am not very comfortable in front of a little video, but I'm doing it because the Lord has really been working with me this week on the confidence that He has given me and reminding me that it's my responsibility to walk it out. And also that He's given me a voice and I need to start using it again. So I'm going to share something that the Lord has put on my heart the last 2 weeks. So about 2 weeks ago, I was working and the Holy Spirit just said, read Esther. And so I stopped and I got my Bible and I was reading. It's 10 chapters, really short. And I'm really studying Esther, like her role in the book, and studying, what she's saying, what's going on around her, what can I learn from Esther? And then I got to chapter 6 and I realized, I need to reread this because I'm not supposed to be focusing on Esther. I'm supposed to be focusing on Mordecai. And so I restarted the book from there and read it, and I was really focusing on Mordecai. And I wanted to share with you guys, just in a brief nutshell, what's going on, and then what the Lord kind of just spoke with me and encouraged me about that I want to encourage you with. Long story short, Mordecai is Esther's uncle, and he's raised her from when she was younger. Her parents passed away, and so he raised her, and now she's queen, but she's still taking instruction from Mordecai, even as she is queen. And there's also a man named Haman who's just been promoted as the most powerful official in the empire, and the king has declared that, everybody, shows him respect, bows down to him, etc. But Mordecai, her uncle, does not bow down to him, and this makes Haman really upset. And when he finds out that Mordecai is a Jew, he's like, it's not enough that just Mordecai dies, every Jew must die. And so he is just out to destroy the Jews. He goes to the king makes a declaration, and this is where you see Queen Esther, you were born for a moment of this, if I die, I die, those great phrases where Esther has to stand up for her people, and it's up to her to save her people. But I want to focus in on Mordecai. But so Esther's plan to get this to take place is she's going to have a banquet with the king and Haman. And the king said, ask me of anything and I'll give it to you. And so she decides, I'm going to have another banquet, and that's where I'll make it known to you what I want to happen. And so Haman is feeling pretty high and mighty right now. He was invited to a banquet with the queen and king. And so after the banquet, he's walking home. He's all smiles, feeling really good about himself. But then he sees Mordecai. And when he sees Mordecai, he realizes, man, Mordecai is not trembling. He's not scared of me. He's not intimidated by me. He will not bow to me. And it just infuriates him. He's so angry. And he goes into his house and he's talking to his wife and friends, and he's telling them all the good things that's happened. He's been promoted. He's the most respected official in the land. He just went to a banquet with the king and queen. Everything's going good for him. But then he says, but none of that matters if Mordecai is still alive. Like, he's eaten up by this. Mordecai must go. And so his wife and friends, they all just say, well, go ask the king to kill him. Like, ask the king to get rid of him. And so Mordecai's like, that's a great plan. I'm in good standing. I'm going to a banquet tomorrow. That's what I'm going to do. And so a little later, a few verses down, Haman's walking to the king's court, and he's going to make his petition known. Like, I want Mordecai dead. And he's pretty confident it's going to happen because he's in a good position and he's got a lot of respect, and he's going to another banquet, like with just the king and queen. So he's up there. So he walks into the king's court, and the king asks, who's out there? And they say it's Haman. And so I'm going to read to you. It says, bring him in. And the king ordered. So Haman came in, and the king said, what should I do to honor a man who truly pleases me? Haman thought to himself, whom would the king wish to honor more than me? And so at this moment, he's like, man, my life just keeps getting better and better. Mordecai is going to die, and the king wants to honor me. Like, this, it doesn't get better than this. And he finds out soon that it doesn't get better than that. So he replied, if the king wishes to honor someone, he should bring out one of the king's own royal robes, as well as a horse that the king himself has ridden, one with a royal emblem on its head. Let the robes and the horse be handed over to one of the king's officials, one of his most noble officials, and let him see that the man whom the king wishes to honor is dressed in the king's robes and led through the city square on the king's horse. Have the officials shout as they go, this is what the king does for someone he wishes to honor. And so Haman's like, I literally get to tell you what I want, and you're going to honor me that way. And he's very excited about this. Life is good. But what he doesn't know is that, let me stop right there. No, I'll keep going. What he doesn't know is that the night that he was planning with his wife and friends about killing Mordecai, the king couldn't sleep that night. What a coincidence. It says that that night the king had trouble sleeping, so he ordered an attendant to bring the book of the history of his reign so it could be read to him. In those records, he discovered an account of how Mordecai had exposed the plot of two of the officials who had a plan to assassinate the king. Mordecai finds out, he tells Esther. Esther tells the king and gives Mordecai credit. And so the king can't sleep this night. For some reason, he can't sleep. I wonder why. And he's reading this history of things that have happened during his reign. He realizes that Mordecai was never rewarded for what he had done, for saving his life. So he asks his attendants there, what did we do to honor him? And they said, I don't think we did anything. So I want to stop right there because I think that just a little brief thing that there are people who are really pressing into the Lord and maybe have done a lot, been very faithful, just been living the life that God has called them to do. And they're just like, where's my reward? Like, where's my reward? When does it come through? When does something good come? Where are the blessings? Where do I get to see the fruit, from my labor? And, sometimes I think God just waits for the right time, and we'll see this in a minute. Sometimes the rewards come in a way you can't even imagine. And so he's asking about, did we ever give him a reward or recognition? They say no. And then in comes Haman. So Haman is thinking, I'm getting the honor, I'm getting the glory. But here's what happens. He tells him what he wants. He tells him what the king should do to honor someone that he wants to honor. And the king says, excellent, the king said to Haman. Quick, take the robes and my horse, and do just as you have said for Mordecai the Jew, who sits at the gate of the palace. Leave out nothing you have suggested. So Haman is walking into the courts, wanting to make a request that Mordecai dies. And then all of a sudden, he is going to have to take Mordecai and give him the reward that he chose for himself to Mordecai. And so it says, so Haman took the robes and put them on Mordecai, placed him on the king's own horse, and led him through the city square, shouting, this is what the king does for someone he wishes to honor. Afterward, Mordecai returned to the palace gate, but Haman hurried home, dejected and completely humiliated. So when I read that, all I could think was the enemy was setting out to harm Mordecai, to ruin him. He did not like Mordecai and how he stood up for himself. He did not like Mordecai's plans, the way that Mordecai carried himself. And so he has a plan to destroy him. But once again, we see that God comes and brings good out of something that could have brought harm. And not only that, but God uses the enemy to bring Mordecai his reward. And I feel like when I was reading that, God was like, your reward is going to come in such a crazy way, like in such a unique way, that it's not just going to come from my hands, but I'm going to make the enemy bring you your reward. The enemy is going to take you, and he's going to take the robes and the horse and do just what he said for Mordecai. He's going to place him on the king's own horse, lead him through the city square, shouting, this is what the king does for someone he wishes to honor. But not only that, but later Mordecai gets promoted, and Haman ends up dying. He dies. And so I just want to encourage you that you may be thinking, where's my reward? What's going on? The enemy's attacking me. I see him staring me down. Like, I feel his stares. I see him. I sense him. And the enemy's got a plan to destroy you and to kill you and to rid of you. But what he doesn't know is that the Lord has set up a plan that the enemy is going to have to give you your reward. The Lord's going to use the enemy to bring you your reward. And I don't know. I was encouraged by that. And I wanted to encourage you to just stay the track, keep focusing, keep pouring in. Your reward may not have come yet, but it's coming. And I know that in this next season, I've just been feeling it in my spirit. And when I'm reading and when I'm worshiping, that this season is going to be fun. And I feel like the enemy is going to be handing over a lot of our rewards to us. He's coming out to destroy us, but the Lord's going to flip it around. He's going to bring us our reward and carry us around the city, saying, this is what the king does to those who honor him. Wanted to encourage you with that. Maybe that's for you, maybe it's not. It's for me, and I'm really encouraged by that. And so if it's for no one else, it's for me. And I wanted to share it because it's exciting, and the next season's exciting. And I'll just leave it at that. Just know that, reward came at the right time for Mordecai, and it saved him, and it saved a whole Jewish people. And so just leave it at that. Just keep going, know the reward's coming, and it just may be coming through the enemy's hands.